Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Shantia here. So today we are doing another Heal, Feel, Reveal series episode. And today we're going to talk about daring to dream, taking that leap of faith. If you're afraid to commit, how do you do that? And how do we push through that? If you're new to this Heal, Feel, Reveal series, I dedicate my entire channel to helping women live in a way that feels natural. This series is designed to use self-inquiry, to ask yourself those important questions and get clarity on what you truly want and desire, and to just go for it. In other words, it's about aligning the inner work. It's about doing the inner work and aligning that with the outer work so you can live the life that you want and create the life that you want. So if you haven't already, also check out my Monday motivation videos. They are videos that I create shorter snippets where I give life advice on how to just create a healthier mindset approach to life in general for yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about being afraid to commit. Being afraid to commit is something that I think I've struggled with from time to time because I'm a dreamer and I want to accomplish these bigger life goals. I want to do these bigger things in my life, but it takes that impulse. And I've learned that if you follow the impulse, it'll take you somewhere. Before I dive further into talking about my perspective and my experience, let's go ahead and start with that self-inquiry. Here's my first question. Are you afraid to commit? And I always invite people to bring out a notebook so that you can keep track of your questions, your answers, because this is essentially a series that's helping you to practice self-inquiry and journaling so that you can prioritize those important questions and get clarity about what you really want and be honest with yourself. Have those honest conversations about what you really want. So ask yourself, are you committed to your dream? Or are you afraid to commit to your dream? So you might want to ask that. I think there's always going to be some level of healthy amount of fear, right? We always have some kind of fear because that's the pushback that we get. We always have to push or stretch the container, stretch the rubber band just a little bit further to know our capabilities. We're always being tested and challenged to push ourselves farther and farther because that's our way of knowing what we're capable of. That's our way of having to overcome these different stages of fear in our life. My thing that I would always ask too, this is something I always ask myself, is your desire has to be bigger than the fear. There's always some level of fear, but if your desire, your excitement for the thing is bigger than the fear, then it's a lot easier to make the move. If your fear outweighs the desire, then that's the time to do a lot of inner work and inner searching so that you can overcome that fear and really find some kind of peace with yourself about what it is you're wanting to do. I would encourage you to do like a pros and cons list. So write down all the things that you would benefit from if you were to pursue the dream, and write the cons. And here's the thing about that list is neither of those things, both of those answers are hypothetical. Neither of them are, this is what's going to definitely happen. Neither of them are definitive in terms of saying or determining whether there's going to be a certain outcome. If you watch my Release Your Limiting Beliefs video, I talk about how overcoming a blockage or overcoming a limiting belief is about not focusing or analyzing what isn't going to work. It's about focusing on what does work. But perhaps first you need to get clear about, is it worth it for you? Is it worth it for you? And something I heard someone talk about before is to plan your life 10 years ahead. So let's say you're already in a specific career field, right? Look at the people who are 10 years down the line, who are 10 years further into what you're wanting to do. Do you see yourself doing what they're doing? And I didn't realize, but I do this naturally. I look around at people, and I've looked around at people working a certain kind of job, and I'm like, no, this is not what I want to be doing. And it becomes very crystal clear to me. That's last year, me working my previous job for 4 years was the last straw for me. It was the last bit of push I needed to just move towards my dreams. And, we always talk about taking a leap of faith, But it's not this gambling trick where you just like take a risk and see what happens and see where everything lands and how it falls. You are constantly having to put in work. So you're seeing the progress. In my Release Your Limiting Beliefs video, I talk about how you have to make a plan, get organized, and see what you're capable of doing. You can't overcome the limiting belief truly until you actually do it. Till then, what you're doing is you're focusing on the desire, the excitement of it over the fear. You're letting the desire, the excitement pull you up and forward and help you to make progress. And that is the validation. That's the confirmation you need to know whether you can do it or not. So when I'm getting positive feedback and people are saying, hey, we really like what you're doing, or someone says you have something, or most importantly, it makes me feel good, that's really the validation I need. All the validation I need to know if I'm moving in the right direction or not. What I've learned to do, so this is what I would encourage you to do. Practice putting things and pieces of your idea out into the world, whether that's sharing it with a group of people, find a group or a club or an organization to join where you share snippets of your idea and you see how people respond to your idea. I honestly have always felt pretty confident about certain things, like certain ideas. I feel confident in my ability to communicate it, even though I wasn't necessarily practicing talking about these things with other people. I would have small conversations, but I was afraid to fully put it out there because I tend to have sometimes a direct or like a tough love. To you, it might not seem like tough love, but from my perspective, sometimes it feels like a tough love approach to how I talk about things. And so I'm not always sure if people can handle that, but that's my projection of that. Of course, a lot of people can handle, and a lot of people are a lot more stronger than we think. We just underestimate people for the most part. So practice putting pieces of your art, your idea out there and seeing how people respond to it. Because I'm willing to bet you someone's going to respond to it, someone's going to get it. Because everything that we create is energy. So depending on the energy that you put into it, that's what's going to come out of it. That's why I know when I'm sitting there and I'm working on an art piece and I'm putting all of this love into it, I already know that people are going to love it because I'm in love with the experience, with the process of creating it. So I don't have to get that extra validation. It just feels really good. My next question to you would be, obviously we can't progress further unless it's worth it. Does your excitement outweigh the fear? And if it doesn't, how can you create an experience or modify it so that the excitement does outweigh the fear? What can you do? And truly, you have to just share it. You have to put it out there because that's how you overcome fear, is just doing it. That's the outer work. For so many years, I've had many ideas, but I've kept them to myself because I wasn't sure, are people going to respond to this? The thing is, people are always going to respond because we're seeking connection. And when you have a desire to express yourself, it's the most natural desire. Just like at kids, when they want to just create and do things, they're just like, I just want to do this because it's fun. It feels good. They're so in tune with expressing themselves, whereas adults start to repress that desire to do things and express themselves. I feel like we're all creative. This idea that, oh no, there's more creative people or less creative people, it's just some people are more open to it. It's because I've had a lot of practice opening up to creativity with myself. It's not hard for me to access ideas and to just dive into different things that I'm interested in. My next piece of advice would be to be impulsive. We're already talking about it, but specifically be impulsive and dive in. Follow those impulses. I get impulses to create things. I get inklings, impulses to just do and take action. Lean in heavily. I would say jump in and dive in and then commit. I like diving into things and then committing because if I didn't commit and dive in, I would take the easy route out and I would kind of avoid the responsibility of having to finish something or to thoroughly invest in energy into creating or putting out an idea. So something that is really good to know is that you can always adjust your pace as you go along. You can always adjust your pace. Life moves according to you. Time shifts according to you. So if you're feeling really excited and inspired and you want to create and do and make, do that. Follow that impulse. If you're feeling like, okay, maybe I need to slow down, maybe you're exhausted, maybe you need to put attention on other areas of your life, maybe you need time just to get more inspiration, then do that. Follow those natural impulses. We have hardwired and built within ourselves to know the natural tides of life. When we follow those natural tides of life, we're not confused. And so, I'm talking about committing to expressing yourself and sharing your ideas with the world and your creativity. But truly what I'm saying is live your life. Live your life. If you say, hey, I don't want to work right now, I just want to enjoy being with my family, do that. We are naturally attuned to our natural cycles and seasons of life. But I have to say, when you commit to that impulse, you learn to trust your instincts. And that's what I've learned to do, is when I trust that instinct and that impulse to create something, I realize that I am my leader. I'm the one guiding me. I don't need someone to tell me, hey, why don't you create something today? You don't need to motivate me. And in fact, I'm just going to be a natural worker bee, workaholic, because I'm already in love with it. You don't have to make me work to create something that I already love. And that's like the whole thing we're trying to get to in this series, is how do we start really creating a life for us that we really love? Listening to those impulses. Committing to our dream. Just commit to it. Are you committed? Are you in? Or are you out? If you don't commit, you can't create it. So for my YouTube channel, for example, I just decided to commit. I committed last fall. I decided to stay consistent with it and just stay disciplined. And then I recommitted in February to creating this series, because I wanted to create something that felt more attuned to my dream, my desire of what I'm wanting to create and make. Commit to your dream. Don't just say you're going to do it, commit to it. Commit to it. And follow a set schedule, or like some kind of set routine where you regularly are doing and making and creating it. There's always going to be better days, and then there's going to be more challenging days. It doesn't matter. Dreaming and follow your dream is a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think because it just takes some form of commitment. The amount, the intensity of the commitment is up to you, right? You can commit to something once a month, and if that's where you need to start, then start with that. But ultimately, I think it's just so important for people to live a life that is aligned and attuned to what they truly want to do. Not just committing to ideas and projects, but really committing to a whole lifestyle of, I love this. Committing to a whole life of, I'm in love with this. I'm in love with my life. I want people to feel like that, and I want to feel like that. And I do feel like that with a lot of things. But I'm also making my adjustments as I go along. And throughout this series, though I do feel like I channel wisdom, I never want people to think I'm not. This all comes from my own personal experience of what I'm learning and understanding. I channel wisdom, but I'm also human, and I have to apply this knowledge myself. So I want you guys to know that I'm growing along with you. So that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Check out the other lessons in the Heal, Feel, Reveal series. It's a very powerful series. Check out my website, my Monday motivation videos, and I'll be back next week with another video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Bye. Yes, I do. Can somebody tell